All right. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Good morning, 1Million Cups Daytona Beach.
Morning.
Come on, it's the last one of the year. I know I asked a lot of you, but please, let's have some fun. Big stuff. Good morning, 1Million Cups Daytona Beach. How's everybody doing?
Good morning.
There we go. Welcome to the last 1Million Cups of 2018. I know, I'm sad. It's okay, Tom. We'll be back. We are very excited today. We've got a wonderful speaker, a guy who's been on the 1Million Cups circuit very actively. We'll introduce him here in a second. But wanted to ask any first-time attendees, could you raise your hand? Welcome. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. For those of you who are new, 1Million Cups is an entrepreneurial networking campaign. Been going on for about 5 years. It's out of Kansas City, in about 185 cities across the U.S. Every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Entrepreneurs like you are getting together over coffee to hear stories of entrepreneurs like David and others who have got ideas, companies that they're looking to grow. What they're looking for is your opinion and some questions about how they can grow their businesses, what they can do better from your perspective, as well as they're looking to kind of share who they are and what they've got. So feel free, besides Daytona Beach, we've got about 8 other groups here in the state of Florida. So if you're the type of professional who travels a little bit, Wednesdays in another town, look them up. Without further ado, though, we're going to go ahead and get started with our presenter today. So David Ponraj is with Startup Space, and if my phone would open. David founded Startup Space out of his frustration with trying to find resources specifically for local startups. And in the last 4 months, he has developed a platform that allows business owners, entrepreneurs, innovators, and startups to come together locally but online. So he'll tell you more about what he's got going. He's got a great story, and we're very excited to have him. So without further ado, round of applause for David.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So, really excited to be here in front of you. Like Tyler said, this is the 13th city in 3 months. Traveled across the U.S., different audiences, but this is a really nice crowd. So, very excited to be here and to finish the year strong. Because of this format, I'm actually going to tell the story of why I started this rather than go through the 7-minute pitch. It all started in 2008, so it's been 10 years in the making. In 2008, I was this bright-eyed college kid, want to go change the world. So I had my business degree, I quit my corporate job, told my girlfriend then, who's not my wife, I'm going to go change the world. So I left the US, went to India, found like 30 families that were unemployed, could not find jobs, had no skills, trained them in making bags. So, the cross-shoulder women's bags, trained them in making that, came back to the US and started selling them. It had a great story behind it. The women, they didn't have a trade, they now knew a trade. They were in their homes now, they would like bike across the city in their bicycles, and it was like a huge empowerment, right, for a small village. Yeah, and it was a great story, but here's the thing. Everybody loved the bags, but I couldn't make it profitable. And I was stuck. So fast forward to 2012. If you are unprofitable for 4 years in a row, the IRS thinks it's a hobby. Right? At that point, you gotta shut down. So I had to make the hard decision. I felt really bad. The women were like, "Don't worry about it. You give us a trade. You give us the machines. We can go find employment anywhere else." Right? But then reality hit because it sucks to fail, right? Especially when you want to go change the world. So I closed the business, I wrote down all the lessons learned and said, someday I'm going to revisit this. Went to work for corporate America. So I worked for a company called Nielsen. We have our headquarters actually in New York, but a big office in Oldsmar down in Tampa. By the way, I'm from Tampa, so Floridian just like all of you. Drove here last night. And I did really good. In 7 years, I went from like an analyst to a VP, traveled around the world, looked at large innovations. And then in January of this year, I got that bug. So how many entrepreneurs in the room? Entrepreneurs? So you know what I'm talking about, right? That bug, you want to do something, you want to go do something with your hands, you want to own something, right? I got that bug again and I said, okay, what am I going to do? So I went back and revisited why I failed in the first business. I went and looked at all the notes and said, I got to do something about this. So when I failed, in the months right after I failed, I noticed something. That as soon as I closed the business, I found all these people around me in my community who could have helped me. Like out of the woodwork, right? People are like, oh, have you heard of this? Have you heard of that? And I was like, if I had known this while I was running the business, I wouldn't have closed it. Like, there were so many resources that were available to me that I had no clue about. And if you're a small business owner, it actually will make sense to you, because when you are a small business owner, you've got blinders on. You gotta make payroll, you gotta talk to your customers, you gotta ship, you gotta do like 15 things in one day. You don't have time to go to a meeting, right? Like, you want to go to a meeting, you want to network, but then you also have priorities to fulfill and run your business. And so I was stuck between running my business and finding resources. So I said, how do you fix that? How do you kind of give people the ability to connect with your local communities and run their business, but yet get the help they need? Because if I had the help, I wouldn't have failed, right? And so I quit my job in May. Actually, June 1st was my last day. I quit my job. I launched this platform in about 5 weeks called Startup Space. The idea behind the platform is that I want entrepreneurs in local communities to be able to get help from their own community, right? And I'm looking at people who, for example, single mothers, right? They have to choose between putting their kids to bed at night or going to a meetup. Guess what? They're going to put their kids to bed, right? So how do you then get access to the network? So that's why I came up with Startup Space. You go there, you ask questions from your local communities, and somebody, by the way, if we all start a business together in this room, we'll be really successful, because I bet you there's a lawyer, there's an accountant, there's somebody who knows how to do Facebook marketing, there's somebody who knows how to sell in a traditional retail environment. The help is in the room already. How do you connect everybody together so when somebody needs help, they can raise their hand, ask, and then somebody else can give the help, right? That's what Startup Space is. So in the 4 months since we've launched, we have about 1,000 users on the platform. We also have some enterprise users. I'm going to talk a little bit about the platform, but I kind of want to tell you why I started this, right? It was something that deeply resonated with me because I needed help. And funnily enough, now that I started the second business, I'm actually going back to that platform and asking my own questions. For example, anytime you start a business, you have to get like some kind of registration, single partner LLC or C Corp, and every time you start a business, those same questions come back up, right? It's not like you figure it out once, you're always going to be that way. So I said, okay, I need to form an LLC. So I looked up, lawyer, CPA, all the people in the Google search ranks, they all charge me like $300 an hour. And I said, that's not for startups, right? So when I asked on the platform, I'm like, hey, is there a CPA who does this pro bono for startups? Yep, there are actually several of them. Because of search engine optimization, they don't come to the very top, right? Because they're not paying for that big ads that run on Google. I was able to find somebody, get them on the team. They're like, yeah, we'll help you for an hour. We'll tell you what to do. I registered it myself, which, if you don't know, can cost you a lot of money. For example, EIN is free on IRS.gov, but a lot of people pay LegalZoom $75 to get it. I don't know why, because it's a really simple form. If you look at it, both the forms are the same, right? But lack of information keeps you bound to all these other providers who are just going to charge you money and make you unsuccessful, right? Because as a startup, cash is king. It's just like that, there are so many examples of things, if you knew, you would be way better than if you didn't know. And people in your community can tell you that, right? So I'm going to go through the features in a second and explain it to you, but I'll keep that brief and then we'll open it up for questions. All right, so I kind of explained the problem, right? Startups don't have an easy way to get help. And the solution is basically a platform. It's free, by the way, and it's live in the App Store and the Google Play Store. So if you guys want to download it, feel free to. If you download, by the way, and ask a question or answer a question on the app this morning, I've got a Starbucks gift card for your Christmas. So just see me after this. If you ask a question on the app, I've got a Starbucks gift card for you. The way it works is basically it has a basic page where you can ask questions. You go in there, you ask questions, and it connects you. It has something called geofencing. It connects you with your local community. Okay, so it's not like somebody in Asia or somebody in Europe answering your question. It's somebody in your community, somebody for whom that question is relevant and has a relevant answer. We also have a way to kind of feature things that startups might find useful, right? So for example, if there's a new ordinance in town, or if there is a new program where you can apply for a grant, or if you want to showcase an entrepreneur who's done really well this month and kind of want to get the story out there. So you have something called local news, where we publish things that are local and relevant to your network. We also have some other features. These are features that are now paid. They cost one Starbucks coffee a month, and if you're a startup, I know you go to Starbucks. I see a lot of Starbucks. So it's one coffee a month, gets you access to the paid network, which is basically curated information that is dynamic. So let's say for the day you decide to go to Orlando to work, you can change your location in your profile to Orlando, and you get all the startup resources that are in Orlando, co-working spaces, access to the SBTC, or like all the other resources in a city. And it's all dynamic, so you just change your location for the day, you get different resources in different cities. We also have something called Knowledge Center, where we've taken really complex topics, like for example, how to create a lead magnet, how to convert from Facebook, all these other things that you have to be aware of to kind of operate in today's world, right? You have to be on the internet, you have to be selling on the internet. Those concepts we kind of break down for you and show you how to generate leads on the internet, how to close those leads, all in like videos and like series of articles. We have checklists. We're really not thinking about content, we're thinking about action. How do we give startups a very simple way to learn quickly and go do it themselves? And then we have a bunch of other features that I will talk to you about a little later, because the question is going to come, so how do you monetize this? And so the rest of the features are actually a way to monetize the platform itself. Okay, so the app is live in the App Store and the Google Play Store. You can download it, you can ask questions, you don't have to pay for the subscription. If you want to check out the subscription, it's actually free for 7 days. So you can get the subscription and cancel it once you've tried it out. And what does our competition look like? So when you're on a platform, what are you missing out on, right? You're missing out on Facebook, Quora, Meetups. What I found is that these platforms don't give you what you need as a startup. I've tried it myself, right? If you go and join like a Facebook group, you see 30,000 people and it's like, we'll help you with digital marketing, right? Just ask any question you want. If you click on the admins, most of these admins are actually like really savvy digital marketers. So you join the group and you get like a private message after that saying, hey, do you want the list of all the users on the platform? It's simply a way to monetize their platform. Like that's what they do. Like I actually joined a group that was like 30,000 people, I was super excited. I get this note from this guy living in Buenos Aires. He's like, yeah, I created this 5 years back. Everybody joins it, and I get a way to kind of market myself to them. Right? It's more of a marketing ploy than actually trying to help you. If you look at meetups, you have to physically be there, right? And when you leave the room, what happens to those connections, right? You're not like going to like text message them and ask them for help, right? So all the platforms that exist today are not for startups. They are meant for something else. In the absence of good platforms, startups have kind of started using them. And we wanted to fix it, right? So when we talk about startup space, we say it's a mixture of LinkedIn and Facebook. So it gives you the aspect of social connection, but also connects you to your business network and allows you to ask questions. And the best part of it is you're not like bothering someone, right? Like at most entrepreneurs, 1 a.m., you're working 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you're stuck. Now, if you have to go reach out to your professor or your mentor or consultant, you're gonna have to wait till their schedule opens up. Here, you just post it on the platform. I bet you another entrepreneur is still also working at 1 a.m. and they'll just be like, hey, look at this source, or this is how I did it, right? And then it fixes your problem and you continue to work. And that's why we differentiate ourselves from all these other traditional platforms, because they're really there as a way to market to you. All right, so why did I do this from a business sense? If you think about it, 3 million businesses get started every year in the US, and every one of them pays for services, right? There's a clear business case here, right? If I charge them $10 a month, $5 a month, there's easily a market to do something like this. So I won't bore you with the numbers, but there is a why financially as well, and it kind of makes sense. What's our business model? So we're going after tier 2, tier 3 cities. Like I said, every week I'm in a different city. I was in Tallahassee 2 weeks back. I was in Kansas City last week. Really going and talking to entrepreneurs and telling them about why I started this and getting them excited about joining their local community. And our business model is to go after like 25 cities in the US, spread the word, get them onto our platform, and then go after like academia, go after service providers, and basically get the whole ecosystem put together. Our team, so I've got, and this was a big lesson I learned in the first time I started my business. I hired my first employee in my 4th year. Here, I hired my employee in the first month, right? Because it's all about scale, and I wasn't focused on scale, and I kept telling myself, I'll do everything myself. I learned how to build a website. I learned everything, and that's a big no-no, right? Because you want to do what you're good at, and get people excited about what you're doing. All these people are working with me just because I met them at 1 Million Cups or some other event, and they're like, we love your vision, can we work with you? And some of them actually had skills that I didn't have, and so they joined my team. I've got somebody for communication, I've got somebody for legal help, I've got somebody for digital marketing. All of them just excited to be on the platform and like, we love your mission, let's stand together and let's solve this. All right, so what do our customers talk about? So we've been live for 4 months, like Tyler said. So far, the key demographic that we focus on, and I've highlighted here, are single women or mothers under 30. Because I feel like that's the group that is hit the hardest when there is lack of information, right? So the one in the middle is actually a screenshot from the app where this girl wanted to start an AR/VR company. And it's basically augmented reality, virtual reality company. And so she's like, what do I go do? Can I build hardware solutions? These are like complex questions, right? You pay a consultant to answer these questions. I am an expert in AR/VR. There are other experts in the panel. They jumped in and said, don't build this technology. Apple already is giving you an AR for developers toolkit. Build it with the toolkit, show your use case has some traction, then go build the hardware, because hardware is a really dangerous play if you don't have a customer. So she got this, and then she came back and said, I feel so relieved. I just feel so good that I was able to talk to someone and I know what to do now, right? Those are the kind of people we're going for, who are stuck, who, if they made a bad choice, can cost them a lot of money or could cost them their business, but by talking to people in the community, get the answers, make better choices, and continue to develop their product. And long term, what are we looking at? So, there's so much potential to improve the customer experience of a startup, right? Things like very simple information that they can get wrong, like, how do I get an EIN number? Things like this we want to automate. In the long run, you can come on our platform and literally just build your business off of our platform. That's the future for this startup space. It's a collaboration space for startups. Come here, build your business, launch your business, and when you're successful, you can go build your own platform. A lot of people come to me and say, hey, we're ready to build an app. And I say, well, if you don't have 50 customers who've already paid you, don't build an app, right? Because technology can be a big minefield. I go to bed every night at 2 a.m. I was telling Tyler this, like, unless you guys are willing to go to bed at 2 a.m., technology can be a really dangerous minefield. You could spend a lot of time and not get it right. So that's what we provide. We provide actually the whole technology toolkit to come build your business, do your marketing plan, acquire customers, and then when you're big enough, you can move to another platform. We also are talking about things like AI and computer vision, all these other technologies that really don't mean much today, but in the future can really help make this like Facebook, or make this like one of the leading platforms out there today. So I know I spoke really fast. I'm trying to like fit into this other format, but too used to doing the 7-minute pitches. So I'll pause here and we can open it up for questions. All questions are welcome. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come here and listen to me this morning. So thank you.
Great job.
That's great. Pretty cool stuff, right? Yeah, round of applause, we like it? Yeah, we think so?